Is it possible to 3D print a functional sleeping pad that works in cold temperatures? That's what I set out to answer. And, well, this is what I came up with. Tiled sleeping pad segments that kind of interlock together to build it as long or as wide as I want, which was inspired by, you know, those interlocking foam pads that you can get for garages to insulate the floor? Each piece is 20 by 20 centimeters and 2 centimeters thick, so it should fit on most 3D printers. And I wound up going for a 3 by 6 configuration for the layout, 18 tiles total. I would have liked to have added one more row, but I kind of ran out of filament. And even if I did add an extra row, when disassembled, this all fits into a reusable shopping bag, so it's not all that great for portability, but it's a neat swap-in for car camping if it does work. I gave the tabs a little bit too much play when connecting together, but thankfully that doesn't really matter too much on flat, solid ground. And it actually helps out on softer ground so that the tiles can flex and conform to the surface that they're sitting on. However, if they flex too much, they can pop out of place on especially soft ground, which is annoying. And I didn't do anything special with this 3D print. It's literally just normal PLA printed at 10% infill, and the 10% infill part is actually a very, very important component of this design, because by doing that, I create pockets of trapped air, which should, in theory, act as the insulation in the sleeping pad. I also added these divots in the top and bottom of the tiles. On the underside, this cuts the surface area that's actually in contact with the ground by about half, which should reduce heat transfer to the ground by quite a bit. And on the top, this creates little pockets for the insulation of my sleeping bag to expand into, allowing it to do its job underneath me at least a little bit. And now for the obvious question. Does this actually work as a sleeping pad? No better way to find out than to actually test it overnight, so I'm going to set it up on my balcony so that we can sleep on it overnight. And it is supposed to get pretty cold. Alright, so this starts by grabbing our ground sheet. Normally this is protection against water and ice and stuff like that, but for today, it's because there's pigeon shit all over the balcony. We start laying down our tiles in alternating colors. No real rhyme or reason to it. I just used 2 different colors of filament to print these off on 2 separate printers. So by alternating the colors, it just makes it look nicer. Alright, just like that, we have our sleeping pad laid down. Tonight, it is getting down to minus 13 degrees Celsius. But let's get a feel for how warm this thing is to lie on. This certainly is a mark above lying on the cold hard concrete. So it's actually pretty warm so far. So maybe this idea wasn't as stupid as I thought it was. Anyways, we're gonna let this sit out here, acclimate to the temperature, and once it's time for me to come to bed, we'll pop out here and I'll sleep the night out here and see how it performs as a sleeping pad. And initial impressions, I think this might actually work. The time has come. It's about 11 o'clock at night. It is already about minus 5 degrees Celsius outside. Let's crawl our way in here and get ready for the night. What I think I'm going to do is I didn't print enough pieces to give me a full length sleeping pad, unfortunately, so I think we're going to kind of bridge the gap. It's only minus 5 right now, but it is supposed to go down to minus 14 tonight, so this should be fun. Alright, inside of my sleeping bag. Yeah, you know what? My feet kind of dangle off the end of the sleeping pad a little bit, but I can make this work. We're gonna get all bundled up here. I'm gonna say goodnight, and then we'll see how this goes. So far so good. I'm laying on top of it, and you know what? I don't actually feel any cold seeping through from the ground, and this sleeping pad has sat out here for a few hours, so it is cooled down to the ambient temperature of outside. It's not warm. You know what? This might actually work. I'm all inside of my sleeping bag here. Honestly, seriously, like the God's honest truth, I feel pretty warm from underneath right now. So we'll see how that plays out over the course of the night. But yeah, I'm gonna go to bed now, and anything significant happens, like if I have to bail halfway through the night or I make it through, I'll let you guys know. Good morning. It is 6:45 in the morning, and yeah, it's minus 8 degrees right now
It got as low as -9, but did not get as low as I thought. But you know what? This 3D printed sleeping pad, it actually worked. I slept out here the whole night, and I did not feel any cold coming from underneath me at all. That is surprising. I thought this was going to be a really stupid idea, but it actually freaking worked. Not one of the projects I expected to come out as a win, but here we are.
So, wow, that actually wound up working a lot better than I thought that was going to. I'm not gonna lie, in the back of my head, I was actually thinking this was a really stupid idea. When I slept out there the whole night from about 11 o'clock through to I think 6:30 in the morning is when I finally got up, and I was warm the entire night. Now, it didn't quite get as cold as it said it was going to. It was supposed to get down to -14, but only wound up getting as cold as -9, but that is still pretty cold. So I'm actually curious to see how cold I could take this sleeping pad. I could probably at least get down to -15. I want to see if I can get it down to as low as -20. If you want to play around with the file, I've actually linked it down below. So if you want to print it and try it for yourself, go nuts. So I am going to print at least one more row for this thing, and I'm actually going to take it out on some of my winter trips in the car and use it as my sleeping pad. Now, this is printed in PLA, so it's obviously not cushioned whatsoever. I do handle sleeping on hard surfaces better than most people, I think. I think this definitely takes the cake as a 3D print idea I thought would be completely stupid, but turned out to actually work better than expected.